Welcome back. This one's just a little bit of a blurb, and I was going to write a blog on it, but I decided to do a blurb on it, and it's about salvaging a marriage. And let's be fair, not all marriages are salvageable, and this in itself brings this piece that um, you know it can't be helped. This is the way it is. But in actual fact, when a marriage or a relationship starts to be a bit on the downhill slope, and you're thinking about it's not safe, not salvageable, etc., the opportunity is there to actually salvage oneself. And from doing this, it's really about growing the individual. And I talk about this quite often. I've talked about this in previous um, tapes that if you're aiming on salvaging the couple, you're deemed for failure anyhow. You need to salvage yourself as an individual, and this is where coaching and the method that we use and the balanced approach gets you to find yourself again, and you find yourself on a different pair, and all of a sudden you'll see yourself as two individuals again, and that's when the relationship can either reunite, or you can go your separate ways quite freely. So with that, there's quite a bit of understanding of that, because often the fear of losing your partner is the very thing you're hanging on to so tightly, or you're hanging on to the relationship because the fear of being abandoned, the fear of not being in a relationship or no one else wanting you, and all these other fears that come through there, racing through our subconscious. In reality, the person you need to get to know and to get to understand is yourself as the individual standing on your own 2 feet. Funnily enough, what quite often happens in this respect, you see each other as different people, and you start to notice things about your partner that you'd forgotten or never even knew existed. And then a new relationship forms, whether it's a new relationship as a couple or as friendship. It develops into whatever it develops into from a good basis. So you become two new mature human beings in that relationship. And this is really exciting. So when we go through the levels of balance and the balance things in the workshops, you'll understand that all of a sudden, with these tools, they're so good for everything you use in life. They're great for with children, with your children, or with other people's children, for that example. At work, you use these levels of balance, but it gives you a sense of knowing, sense of awareness about yourself that you lose or have lost over being in a period of long-term relationship. So it's funny when you think about, and you might think about a relationship you had earlier on in your life and how your next relationship is so different. It's because you learnt from the previous relationship, and in that period of time, and particularly if you've had a decent break between the relationship, you've grown some individual things in yourself that you've looked for in the new relationship, because you now know what to look for. So until you've had a relationship, you really don't know what you're looking for in a long-term relationship, because you've never had one before. But when you start setting your criteria of what you're wanting in a relationship, and we do this in a subconscious way when we're looking for a mate, we're looking for those things of security and love, and a number of other things that might be high on your values list. So the time alone, or the time looking at yourself, is a high valued. Years ago, the counsellors used to get people doing temporary separations, and they still do that to some extent today. That's not necessarily the answer, but sometimes it becomes necessary if the relationship's toxic. So what I mean by that is that means you're not letting the other one grow. You're interfering too much with their relationship. But that's a last ditch effort in getting the person to grow as an individual. But when you understand that that's what you're wanting to do, and what the relationship is at the end will be how well you've developed and grown through this growing stage, then you understand that you don't need to separate to do this. You don't need to do anything else. You just need to allow each other to grow, because that's what hasn't happened up till now. When one fears the other growing, that's something for them to work on as well. So there's always these things to work on, and you actually help each other learn what needs to be worked on, because it's coming up as a conflict. So the conflict itself is telling us there's something wrong beneath the beneath. So when you see, if you think about a river being dirty, the water being dirty, it's because all the sediment's been stirred up from underneath. If it was able to settle and left for days, sitting in a glass, you'd see all the sediment would set to the bottom again. And this is kind of what happens in a relationship. When you're apart, it all settles and the sediment sets to the bottom. But when you're still together, it's stirring it up so you're able to deal with it. And while it might sound a bit conflictual or contradictory to what you've been taught, without it being stirred up, sometimes you just miss those little things that are fantastic to grow. So it's really good to grow as the individual within your relationship first, prior to separation. So from that, something quite a little bit different. I hope you have a great day. Bye.